A report in the New York Post fueling speculation on why Bernie Madoff took the fall for the largest Ponzi scheme in history. Inmates serving at the North Carolina Correctional Facility with the convicted swindler say that Madoff has been telling them that he's dying of cancer. Inmates say he's taking about 20 pills a day for his cancer, and that he does not have much longer, in fact, to live. Rumors of Madoff suffering from pancreatic cancer are not new. Some surfaced well before he even arrived at the Butner, North Carolina prison back in June. However, the Federal Bureau of Prisons issued a statement saying Bernie Madoff is not dying of cancer. While the New York Post story is full of inaccuracies, and we can't specifically address all of them, they say, we can tell you that Bernie Madoff is not terminally ill and has not been diagnosed with cancer. The same jailhouse sources to the New York Post say that the Ponzi schemer has stripped off his shirt for Native American sweat lodge ceremonies done with other prisoners.
You can't make this stuff up.
Another prisoner told the tabloid that Madoff has been making friends with the gay prisoners. Larry Levine, back in the conversation, out of Burbank, head of Wall Street Prison Consultants. It's an organization that says it specializes in stock and security fraud, federal sentence reductions, as well as consulting surviving the prison life. Larry, let us commence. First off, is pretending you have cancer, if in fact that's what's going on here, an advisable tactic when you come into prison and are trying to protect yourself from whatever may scare you?
Well, he might be looking for some sympathy, I don't know, from the staff, from the other inmates. But as far as him taking all these pills, it could be for heart medication, blood pressure, cholesterol, psych meds, thyroids, vitamins. Who knows? See, they go to pill line. He's in a medium, so he's probably not taking his pill bottles back to his cell. So he goes to pill line. They give him these little cups with all these pills in it. You've got inmates standing behind him. They're shoulder surfing, seeing, wow, Madoff's taking all these pills, and they're asking him what they're for, and he's probably saying, yeah, you know, I'm dying of cancer. So he's trying to blow them off. This kind of stuff happens.
So if you look at some of the other narrative, and not knowing what's obviously entirely true or true at all, but to the extent to which he's taken to a community, whether it's the Navajo Indian sweat lodge crowd or the homosexual crowd, if you were to look at Bernie Madoff's ability to navigate the first month or two in prison, how do you think he's doing, and what would you advise him going into the fall?
Well, everyone's reaching out to him. I guess they want to be Bernie's friend. They want to have the notoriety that they're running with Bernie Madoff. To get into the sweat lodge, it's like by invitation only. I've been into the sweat lodge a couple times, and they've got these in all the prisons. It's a religious kind of thing. And they go in there, they take their shirts off, they heat the stones up, they smoke sage, they chant, they play the drum, or they smoke anything else they can get into the institution. So maybe Bernie's exploring all kinds of things. I mean, I read the New York Post article also. It talks about the gangs. Well, let's break it down. You got the black gangs. Bernie's not running with them. You've got the Hispanic gangs. He's not running with them. And the white gangs are going to be the Aryan gangs. Well, they're certainly not going to take a 71-year-old Jew into an Aryan gang. Now, the BOP actually, they support different religious organizations. You got a bunch of white inmates running around. They call themselves the Ostertrue. They're worshiping Thor and the Greek gods, and the prison actually sells them these little Thor hammers to wear around their neck. So it's a strange situation.
So Bernie's left with, again, this Navajo sweat lodge and whoever else is not part of those big three gangs of the Aryans, the blacks, and the Hispanics.
The other big three.
Yeah, the other big three. Go ahead, Karen.
One question. One of the reports that I saw suggested that actually that the prison system sort of left open a little bit of room when they said that he had not been diagnosed with cancer, meaning he could have cancer, but technically their doctors have not diagnosed him yet. Yeah. And I'm wondering, I'm assuming there's a process under which they would do so in prison?
Yeah, what's the medical? If we go with your pill theory, Larry, which is that right now he's just talking with people looking at a cup full of pills, at what point does the prison get involved medically to do an evaluation of somebody like this to see whether in fact they do have cancer?
But also you'd assume that there's got to be some process by which he takes those.
The evaluation process started the day he hit the prison. He went through admission orientation, receiving and discharge. They drew blood either that day or the next day. They're still evaluating him, and he's probably not the only one in that pill line taking 20 pills. I mean, you would see at pill call 3-4 times a day, you might see 25, 30 people lining up, and they're all taking 20 pills.
So they're essentially...
And Butner is a medical complex. So, I mean, they could actually do the cancer treatment for him there if he had it.
Last question. Madoff apparently brought cans of tuna with him as currency. Tuna, you said mackerel is the currency of choice. Is a can of tuna worth more or less?
That's about the same price.
All right.
But I heard they got Bernie painting fences. They've got him engraving plaques. So he's got a prison job. What he ought to do is try to work for the Commissary Trust Fund like I did with Bobby the bookmaker. He can get cappuccino and sit there all day and play cards.
So the best gig in town is to work out of the commissary, you're saying, because you get to hang out. I got it. All right. Do you have to know somebody? How many cans of mackerel does it take to get a gig in the commissary?
You got to be smart and know what you're doing. They had me working in there. The Italian inmates recommended me. They said, hey, we got a smart Jew that knows how to run things.
So the Italians?
Let's plug him in there, and they did.
So the Italians and the smart Jews will run together in prison from time to time.
Actually, we do.
Yeah. All right. Larry, a pleasure. Thank you very much.